India and Africa, the world's largest democracy and a vast continent. A shared history of struggle against colonialism and a common search for identity. A determination to ensure equality in the post-colonial world order. At the turning point of the 21st century, this partnership is rekindled and taken forward. In 2008, the first India-Africa Forum Summit set the stage for comprehensive re-engagement. Bringing together leaders from India and Africa, it addressed expanding economic interdependence and mutual resource needs. At this historic juncture, the Delhi Declaration was adopted. It aimed to strengthen ties in the fields of politics, security, economics, science and technology, human resource capacity building, social and cultural cooperation. May 2011, this partnership was carried forward with the second Africa-India Forum Summit held in the political capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this Foreign Ministers meeting of the second Africa-India Forum Summit. We meet here today in this beautiful city to deliberate upon the current state of our partnership and to chart out the way ahead in taking this exemplary association to still great heights.
AIFS-2 witnessed the signing of the 5 MOUs carried forth from AIFS-1 by India and Africa. India's External Affairs Minister S.M. Krishna reiterated the mutually beneficial partnership between India and Africa and emphasized that its origins are embedded in a shared history.
Excellencies, I am glad to note that India's partnership with Africa is marked by a frank and open consultative mechanism, wherein we meet as partners who not just highlight their needs and expectations, but bring forth historical goodwill and empathy. We fully appreciate each other's abilities as well as constraints.
The commitments made in 2008 and agreements signed in 2011 was cemented by the Indian Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. His address reaffirmed the special relationship between India and the African Union.
I bring to the people of Africa fraternal greetings from the people of India. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a historic gathering. It is the first time that the leaders of India and Africa are meeting on such a scale on African soil.
Focusing on Africa's best interests, the Indian Prime Minister volunteered India's aid in developing a globalized Africa.
India will work with Africa to realize its vast potential. We believe that a new vision is required for Africa's development and participation in global affairs. We do not have all the answers, but we have some experience in nation building which we are happy to share with our African brothers and sisters.
To help achieve these goals, several initiatives were outlined. The initiatives were designed to strengthen the Indo-African relationship at the Pan-African, regional and bilateral level, as was the focus of the summit.
It is in this spirit that I wish to outline some initiatives for the consideration of our African partners. These will enhance our development partnership, which is founded on the pillars of mutual equality and common benefit.
These initiatives cover diverse areas such as infrastructure development, education, and capacity building.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we will offer $5 billion for the next 3 years under lines of credit to help Africa achieve its development goal. We will offer an additional $700 million to establish new institutions and training programs in consultation with the African Union and its various institutions. Under the lines of credit that we offered at the first summit, we had specially looked at promoting regional integration through infrastructure development. On the advice of the African Union, I am happy to announce that we would support the establishment of a new Ethiopian-Djibouti railway line to the tune of $300 million.
Africa and India recognize the critical need for accelerated growth, poverty eradication, and capacity building amongst the youth. To this end, key enablers were identified at AIFS2. The summit focused significantly on the need to bridge the digital divide and harness the socio-economic benefits of information and communication technology.
Following the success of the Pan-African Electronic Network project, we propose to take the next step and establish an India-Africa virtual university. This, we hope, will help to meet some of the demand in Africa for higher studies in Indian institutions. We further propose that 10,000 new scholarships under this proposed university will be available for African students after its establishment. We would like to make education in India an enriching experience for each student who comes from Africa. We are substantially raising the number of scholarships and training slots for African students and experts, including under the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program. Our total commitment for the next 3 years by way of scholarships to African students will stand at more than 22,000.
Along with these announcements, India also pledged its support to Africa in other key areas. It proposed the establishment of several institutions at the Pan-African level to fulfill diverse needs.
At the first summit in 2008, we had focused on capacity building in human resource development sector. We believe it would be logical to consolidate this approach. I wish to propose the establishment of the following new institution at the Pan-African level. A, an India-Africa food processing cluster. This would contribute to value addition and the creation of regional and export markets.
Historically, India's relationship with Africa dates back to the mid-1st century, when they traded cotton across the Indian Ocean. In the 21st century, India proposes to boost the textile industry in Africa.
An India-Africa integrated textile cluster. This will support the cotton industry and its processing and conversion into high-value products.
India also aims to share its substantive scientific and technological assets with Africa, which can gain immensely from a knowledge and resource transfer. Building a scientific and technological human resource in Africa is a prime concern for both nations. Many initiatives have been outlined to facilitate this.
An India-Africa Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasting. This will harness satellite technology for the agriculture and fisheries sector, as well as contribute towards disaster preparedness and management of natural resources. We have received a request to support the establishment of an India-Africa University for Life and Earth Sciences. We would be happy to support this important venture.
The importance of scientific research for raising productivity was emphasized upon. Measures were also taken to ensure food security and bring down the rising cost of food prices.
And finally, an Africa-India Institute of Agriculture and Rural Development.
Africa and India are deeply conscious of their age-old ties at the people-to-people level. Tourism and connectivity remain important areas to provide economic benefits and contribute to mutual understanding.
One of the biggest gaps in our interaction is that of insufficient air connectivity. We should accord this high priority. To begin with, India would be happy to increase the access of African airlines to Indian cities in a significant manner over the next 3 years.
The Indian Prime Minister also touched upon key initiatives catering to the needs of a resurgent African economy. Africa has strong regional organizations which play an important role in supporting development activities. India has extended its cooperation to these organizations, giving them further momentum in achieving their goals. Besides announcing key initiatives, the AIFS2 was also a platform for Prime Minister Singh to strengthen critical bilateral ties. He held meetings with 5 African heads of state to discuss imperative bilateral initiatives and to pledge his support on behalf of the Indian people. At a bilateral level, the Indian Prime Minister proposed to establish institutes for English language training, information technology, entrepreneurship development and vocational training. In the socio-economic sectors, he spoke of establishing rural technology parks, food testing laboratories, food processing business incubation centers, and centers on geoinformatics applications and rural development. The AIFS2 firmly cemented the 21st century partnership between India and Africa. To commemorate this historic event, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Dr. Jean Ping, released 2 Billion Dreams, Celebrating India-Africa Friendship, a book that commemorates the shared histories and convergent cultures of India and Africa that lend the relationship color, vibrancy and popular appeal. As a commemorative token from the Indian contingent, Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh also released a set of postage stamps.
It is an original partnership with the Commission and with the African Union as a continent. It is based on not only bilateral cooperation or regional cooperation, but also on multilateral cooperation. They are combined. There is no competition between countries and their continental organization. There is complementarity. And the way we have started with India is very fruitful and very promising.
The AIFS2 successfully brought Indo-African cooperation to the fore. Even on its sidelines, events were planned to carry forward the same ideals. a trade ministry meeting was held with ministers from many African countries. Indian Minister for Commerce and Industry, Mr. Anand Sharma, addressed the gathering. He spoke of the need for increasing trade between the two partners over a broad spectrum of sectors.
Well, we are partners for progress and development. We are committed to institution building, capacity building, also value addition in manufacturing and beneficiation of the resources that Africa has.
Africa has products, India has technology, Africa has raw materials, India has a market, and so the two of us should be able to sit together and have that mutual compatibility to, first of all, add value to our resources and then exploit our huge market, because India has a big middle class and Africa is also developing a middle class. This is the basis on which we can industrialize. This is the basis on which we can develop our economies.
To the same end, the India Show was organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry with support from the Ethiopian Ministry of Commerce and Industry. This event showcased products from more than 80 Indian companies. The aim was to augment bilateral trade and investment and promote Indian technology and services in Africa. Concurrently, luminaries and CEOs from India's private sector attended the business conclave and spoke of the benefits of investing in Africa.
This is truly a revival of Indian engagement with Africa, and I'm pleased that our own company, Airtel, is now in 16 countries in Africa.
The fact that India is an ideal partner for Africa was underlined by many of the high-profile attendees.
From India, actually, what we like to promote is our AAA technology, which is appropriate, adaptable and affordable technology. Indian companies, more than Western ones, can offer the appropriate technology at the appropriate price, which can lead to much quicker development.
This conclave and the interest that it has generated is a testimony to the current scope and future potential of this bilateral relationship.
Apart from the historic decisions taken at the summit, there was a vibrant display of the art and culture of both India and Africa. Handcrafting Hope was an exhibition of traditional handicrafts. A week-long film festival was organized, celebrating Indian cinema. From tradition to innovation, a multimedia exhibition took viewers on a journey. From African and Indian traditional roots to their innovations in the 21st century, journalists converged at a media symposium to deliberate upon enhanced media engagement between the two partners. Dance troupes enthralled the audience with their exhilarating performances.
When we blended and we actually worked together, we realized that it's been fantastic, and we look forward to many such further enriching experiences.
What we realized with the Indians, we've got almost the same thing, because we have reason. Indians have a lot of reason, good reason, complicated reason, like our reason. Yeah, so we liked it very much because it shows that we're almost the same thing.
It is healthy, and it is actually going to help us, bring a lot of cultures together.
The fact that a value is being given to their skill is actually a value to their life.
I grew up watching Indian films here in Ethiopia in the 70s. We used to see a lot of Indian films. One of the ones that stays in mind until today is Mother India.
As the summit drew to a close, the warm relationship between the two partners was celebrated at the retreat, a lunch hosted by the Indian Prime Minister. It was the perfect ending to AIFS2, which itself marks the beginning of a new era in Indo-African relations.
This ties between India and Africa is greatly contributing toward the growth of our world economy. The summit will definitely guide us to broaden our relationship.
For the profitability, income generating. We can work in different things.
Africa expects that India will continue to be its friend, will continue to support it and its issues at the international level, that it will continue to support it to develop its resources in order to improve the welfare and the well-being of the African people, but also to contribute the same to their Indian friends.
AIFS2's success has paved the way for a strong, mutually beneficial relationship between India and Africa. A partnership that was born many centuries ago has transformed into a force that is ready to take on the challenges of a globalized world and fight for its rightful place in the sun.